overwhelmed at the attendance tonight, just so you know that. Many of us have been faced with the shock, fear, shame, embarrassment, and sheer heartache of having to face the fact that our loved one is a drug addict. We are faced with the daily struggles and fears that drug addiction brings with it, the biggest one being that our loved one may end up dead. Too many have suffered the loss of a loved one already in this growing epidemic. 3 years ago, Michelle and I thought we were the only ones dealing with a loved one on drugs. We both believe in the power of prayer. We began praying, and we haven't stopped. We have seen many of our prayers answered, I might add. Not long after that, Chris Lutz and I began talking. She spoke to JC, and he said to see what other mothers were suffering with this, and we would have a meeting to discuss the problem. At our first meeting, we had mothers whose sons and daughters had become heroin addicts. We had friends supporting friends. We had a sister supporting her sister, as well as being concerned about her nephew. And JC seeing the need and allowing us to meet at his church. My point, drug addiction impacts us all. The addicts are someone's son, daughter, sister, brother, father, mother, niece, nephew, aunt, uncle, or grandchild, possibly a co-worker or a neighbor. It was declared that night that doing nothing is not an option. I knew Pastor Corwin, as he said, and asked him early on to pray for my son. When I shared with him what our group was doing, he jumped on board without hesitation. And we are so grateful for that. Being a father and grandfather, retired police chief, and now pastor, he has a broad perspective to bring to the table. Bob Lipley, having worked in our school system for many years, saw the need and joined forces with us also. We named these three our three wise men. You see, I am not a professional public speaker. I stand here tonight because of the passion I have for hurting people. We three moms decided that we didn't want to see other families going through this pain any longer. We formed this group. Together we hurt, together we heal. We are parents of addicts and concerned citizens who feel that drug abuse is life abuse. Our mission statement reads like this: to stop the hurt brought on by the use of illicit drugs through prevention, education, and awareness, as well as heal the hurt already inflicted through intervention and treatment. Interestingly, the three of us moms who started this group that were there that night, as overwhelmed by it all as we were, and knowing that change needed to take place, all had different passions for what needed changed. Mine was to educate and to make the community aware of the growing problem, to get the word out to parents to know the signs of drug abuse to look for before their loved ones got involved in the heroin problem. Michelle's passion was support, to let others know that they are not alone and that we are here to help them as they're dealing with this pain. Chris's passion was intervention, seeing changes made for our loved ones in order to get help. We applaud our law enforcement and judicial system. We know that jail is necessary when bad choices are made. I feel my son is alive today because of having to go to jail at certain times. We parents sleep a little easier knowing at least that our children won't overdose while they're there. And we also hope it will be a turning point for them. With addicts, most of the choices are driven by their addiction. Therefore, to let the addiction go untreated will only cause the cycle to continue. Our jail now has a wonderful program called the 12 Steps with Jesus that is run by Margie and John Maddox. I would like to thank them and thank Sheriff Schauber for doing all they can to get the addicts some positive reinforcements instead of letting them just sit there and think about getting high when they get out. We started a monthly support meeting early on and have seen much heartache, frustration, and many tears. The need is great. When my son admitted that he was addicted to heroin, I didn't know anything about the drug. I began to do research, and wow, I became more frightened the more I learned. This illicit drug is like no other drug in terms of addiction. Most take time to get hooked on, but not heroin. Heroin is a depressant that affects the brain's pleasure system and interferes with the ability to perceive pain. One dose, one time of using it, and most say they are hooked, but not by their choice. After snorting it or injection, they feel a surge of euphoria accompanied by a warm flushing of the skin, a dry mouth, and heavy extremities. Then to follow is what is known as the nod, an alternately wakeful and drowsy state. Mental functioning becomes clouded due to the depression of the central nervous system. Many say their first time using, it makes them sick. With regular heroin use, tolerance develops. This means the abuser must use more heroin to achieve the same intensity or effect. The abusers forget to eat and bathe. Their lives revolve around chasing the drug and getting their next fix. Over time, chronic users may develop collapsed veins, infection of the heart lining, hepatitis, or even HIV from sharing needles. You might ask, don't they know from others that they will get addicted if they use it? The only answer I can come up with is they just don't think they will get hooked. They've tried other drugs and haven't gotten hooked on those, so they think that this won't be any different. They're wrong. Watching a loved one go through withdrawals is very painful. It includes muscle and bone pain, restlessness, insomnia, diarrhea, vomiting, cold flashes, sweating, and kicking movements. And for those of you still eating, I apologize. An addict is in such misery, and they know that it will stop soon if they just use. Imagine the worst flu you've ever had, and you know that a shot would make it go away. That is one of the reasons it is so hard for an addict to get off of this drug. Heroin is not the only drug to be concerned about. Most start out with marijuana or pills, such as Vicodin, Percocets, or Oxycontin. We have cocaine, crystal meth, methamphetamines. Kids are selling their Adderall at school, and bath salts have crept into our community. Our group's vision statement says, "We are a group of people brought together by the hurt of drugs, visited upon a loved one who want to heal our own family and prevent the same hurt in other families." We began meeting weekly at the Pelican for some time. It was there that we chose our name, Together We Hurt, Together We Heal. We did the paperwork to get that established. We voted in members of our first board, wrote our goals and our mission statement, wrote our bylaws, filed for our 501c3, began our support group, and prayed. We prayed a lot. We have organized and held a faith summit for which we invited all the pastors from Marion and Crawford County. We believe that God is the answer and felt making all of the churches aware of the need was the place to start. We have also gathered all the Crawford County school heads together and had Teen Challenge speak to them. Teen Challenge is a faith-based long-term rehab center that is not only for teens, as its name would indicate. Our hope was that they would be able to have this group come to their school and present to the teens the seriousness of drugs and addiction and hopefully rescue some that have already gotten involved and deter others from getting involved. We then sponsored a rally at the fairgrounds and had Teen Challenge speakers, all of whom were recovering addicts. We had a drug summit and invited Crawford and Marion County officials, police, sheriffs, Adam H. Board members, doctors, and it was very well attended. Holidays are a tough time for families with a loved one with an addiction. We held our second annual Night of Hope this past December. It is for families during the holiday season who have a loved one that has passed away due to drugs, possibly are in a rehab and won't be home for the holidays, are incarcerated, or some that are even on the run from the law. We can't all do everything, but we can all do something. We wanted to offer our support and have a time of being together and offering hope. We three moms of Together We Hurt, Together We Heal were asked at a board meeting how we got from there to here. From there, what seemed to be the darkest days of finding out that our sons were addicts and feeling that there was no hope, to this point of knowing that there is hope and being able to help others find their way through this. We all resoundingly said it was God that gave us the strength. I felt strongly that facing the problem was liberating for me in a way, because by naming the elephant in the room, I was able to move to the next step of getting through this. We are here tonight as concerned citizens who care about our community. The fact that we have 2 pastors on our board indicates only that we know that God is the answer. We are not affiliated with any church, and no church will benefit from this fundraiser. We have spent countless hours praying for many by name that are caught in this web of destruction, for their families, for our law enforcement and judicial system, and for you tonight. Crawford County is 3rd in Ohio for unintentional drug overdoses, and this is unacceptable. Deaths are up, crime is up, our jails are filling up, and we are fed up. Doing nothing is not an option. Won't you join us in winning back our community? you.